What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Ben Thomas Show. Thanks for coming back. Tonight I've got my top 10 most anticipated 1/6 scale figure releases and maybe some vehicles of 2023 so far prepared for you. Now, this may be divisive because this is my list. It's not yours, of course. So I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below after you've watched the video. Do you agree with my selections? Do you have others that you're looking forward to? Let's hear from you. But if you liked the video, hit the like button for me, smash the subscribe if you're new to the channel, and let's get into it. Okay, everybody, welcome back to the Ben Thomas Show. So again, today is going to be my top 10 most anticipated 1/6 scale of 2023. Now that can include a couple things, vehicles and figures. This is going to be probably a bit divisive, I'm not going to lie. This is my top list. It's certainly not going to be everybody's, and I totally get that. And with the massive amount of figures and vehicles that are on the horizon for Hot Toys, InArt, X06, So Toys, the list goes on, I gotta say, it was actually really hard to narrow this shit down. So bear with me, this is going to be my list. Let's start with one that you may call me out for cheating on just a little bit. And that is the InArt 2-pack Joker Deluxe pack that I have on the way. Now, I'm really excited for this figure. Of course, he comes with the rooted hair, the 2-pack does. That's the figures that I decided to get. Now, I got mine from 1/6 Kit. And of course, the reason I'm adding it here is, even though this was technically released in 2022, I'm not going to get mine in hand until 2023. Most collector friends that I have out there are in the same boat. You may have had an opportunity to see Joao Breda's or Big Breda's channel, YouTube channel I should say, his video on this. If you have missed it somehow, go over to YouTube, Big Breda, and watch his video. It shows the in-hand unboxing and it is phenomenal. I was a little bit nervous, I'm not gonna lie. I was worried that we were gonna get hosed, that there was gonna be this massive cost to get this guy in hand, and then it just wasn't gonna be very good. And I gotta say, I think I'm wrong here, based on everything that we've seen. Now, of course, like I said, it's a 2-pack. The common misconception is people are calling this a $1,000 figure. It's not. It's more like two $500 figures with a really significant diorama display. The bench, the metal bars behind him. It is fantastic. So, one thing that I will say, I have the DX11 Joker. About 3 years ago now, maybe 2 years ago, I paid $1,000 to get this guy in hand because I thought this was the best Joker they were ever gonna make. Which is a little laughable probably now when you think about it, because again, this guy is just so impressive in comparison. But I gotta say, this guy still has a place in my heart, or holds a place in my heart, and I love still that with the DX11 Joker, the 2.0, we got this laughing head sculpt, which in my opinion is something that InArt's version is kind of missing out on. So I'm going to have 3 Jokers in my collection with exactly the same outfits. Let's move on to the next one. The Hot Toys DeLorean Time Machine. Now this is one, again, I'm extremely excited about. Obviously, everything on this list I'm going to be excited about. But I've never owned a 1/6 scale vehicle before. And this is the 2.0 version. This is from the second film, so Back to the Future 2, where of course it gets hover converted with the Mr. Fusion in the back. And for me, in terms of nostalgia, Back to the Future 2 is probably the one that I watched the most. I liked the idea that they could have an impact on their own future and change it. I liked that aspect of the time travel dilemma that they were in. I liked getting a chance to see past Biff, current Biff, and old Biff, and kind of the timeline around it. I thought it's funny that that film, when they travel to the future, is in 2015. We're now long beyond that, of course. being now 2023 as of this week. But I will say, this film still holds up for me. Now, one of the things people are also going to say is sacrilegious when it comes to this particular vehicle is I've got two figures in my collection, Marty McFly and the new Doc Brown. Now, both of those figures are from Back to the Future 1. I don't have the Back to the Future 2 figures from the past. What do you guys think? I need to hear from you in the chat below. Is it sacrilegious to display those two figures with this DeLorean? In my mind's eye, I can make it work. But I get for some collectors out there, it would just drive them absolutely nuts because the continuity is wrong. Back to the Future 1 figures can't be with Back to the Future 2 figures, surely, right? I don't know. I'm gonna try it. I think I'm gonna try it. This looks freaking awesome. Lighten up. Oh, I've got a whole diorama display set up in mind that I'm gonna do in the living room out here in the Ben Thomas Show. So stay tuned for that. I may take some advice from fellow collectors out there, but I'm pretty freaking excited. Can't say it enough. On to the third option. So the Deluxe Darth Vader that I have coming. Now, this guy is insane. I've never owned a Darth Vader ever in 6 scale. And I've been waiting for one that really resonated with me. And when I watched the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, there was a lot of that show that I didn't absolutely love, but there was a ton that I did. And some of the fights between Obi-Wan and Anakin, or Darth Vader here, the scene, and I don't want to give too much away just in case you haven't seen it, but the scene where they fight and Obi-Wan slashes the mask here, as you can see in these images, and you get a chance to see Anakin's face peeking through the helmet. It is a really intense scene. Really intense. And it's absolutely one that I need to capture in my collection. Now, a young Padawan Obi-Wan has been, a young Obi-Wan Anakin Skywalker has been announced for next year as well. I'm not going to get that figure. As much as I think it's a beautiful figure, I'm not even going to bring it on this list specifically. But the reason I mention it, I do think it would be really cool if you had the Padawan Anakin, the Dark Side Anakin, and then this Darth Vader Anakin mix. In a trifecta setup, that could be absolutely gorgeous and be display worthy just on its own terms if you're just a Star Wars fan. But for me, I have to have this figure in hand. I am worried a little bit about the USB capability. I don't want wires showing in my display, and I don't have a ton of electrical outlets. And the way that I've got my, setup wired out in the living room, not the one behind me. This is kind of an older school setup. I'm still working on the recording studio here, but in my main living room here in the other room, where I commonly recorded before, it's white and open and exposed, and I'm a little bit worried about the cords. So we'll see how that goes. I did get the deluxe version, of course, that comes with the battle damage section on the chest plate. I do think that's really cool. And again, overall, this figure is one that I'm really looking forward to. I hope that the pleather doesn't wear on it terribly, but otherwise, honestly, I would just call it battle damage at this point. I love Darth Vader. He's been one of my favorite characters of all time. And it's actually kind of crazy I don't have him in my collection. Let's move on. The next option on the list here is the InArt Batman. Now, I actually got the InArt Standard Edition. So I actually, the base model. He comes with sculpted hair in terms of his Bruce Wayne head sculpt. He comes with pretty basic accessories, so kind of what you see here in this picture. The cards, the grappling hook, the cowl, and the magnetic base. But on the left here, you see the comparison with Hot Toys. And I was really on the fence, I'm not gonna lie. Which one do you choose? They both look pretty good, right? Well, we just recently saw what the Joker looks like now in hand. And we got a chance to truly know that the quality of InArt is absolutely there for that release at least. So it remains to be seen. This Batman's gotta be good, right? It has to be good. So, even though it's a little bit more expensive than the Hot Toys guy, I've got the pre-order in with the kit, again, 1/6 kit. to go for the InArt version. And I'm quite excited, naturally. As I said before, I'm going to say that a million times today. Apologies, we can make it a drinking game if you guys want to. Only if you're of age, of course, though. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. And even honestly, even though I won't likely display the Pattinson head sculpt, at least all that much, he was a pretty good Batman. He was. I'm surprised, but not at the same time. I remember when Heath Ledger was announced as the Joker, and people went crazy. What, the guy from Brokeback Mountain, or, you know, A Knight's Tale, like Pretty Boy? Like, what? How is he gonna be the Joker? That's ridiculous. And he crushed it. It was one of the best performances I've ever seen. Like, he's my favorite character. Pattinson didn't quite hit that note, but damn close. He was an amazing Batman. He made me entirely forget about the Twilight series, even though my friend Gigi over at 16fix YouTube channel commonly calls him Twilight Batman. I was able to forget. I was. So I'm excited to get this guy in the collection 100%. Next up, we have Peacemaker. Now, this was an interesting release. When this guy was originally announced, we got a chance to see images that did not really look like John Cena. He didn't. His face wasn't right. He had this weird tongue that, like, was able to be removed, which is it, like, from iconic scenes in the show Peacemaker, which, if you haven't seen it, by the way, I gotta say, I wasn't all that excited to watch it. I didn't love Peacemaker in Suicide Squad 2, even though I really loved that movie. He was kind of a bad guy by the end of the film, and so, but like, not, like, in my opinion, not a great one. He's kind of a dick, and excuse the language, but I would say I didn't love the performance of Suicide Squad 2 for him. So I wasn't looking forward to the show, and the show absolutely blew me away and changed my mind entirely. Entirely. It was an amazing show. So watch it if you haven't had a chance, but the figure I had to have in hand, and they provided us an update, they being Hot Toys. They heard what the community was saying about this figure. We were worried about the jointed arms looking bad, the body not having the right bulk, because John Cena is a very freaking bulky dude. And then the head sculpt just not looking enough like John Cena, almost to the point where it seemed like they didn't have his likeness rights, which is unfortunate. And they gave us this update, and I mean, this previous picture, that is 100% John Cena. And in fact, it actually looks like a TV still. Like, that to me blows me away. Shrink Ray, I think, is going to be one of the best sculpts we see in 2023. The tongue out head sculpt, I mean, again, it's an attachable tongue. You can take it in and out. What a crazy accessory. I don't think I have any Hot Toy in mind that has that crazy of an accessory or appendage, so that you can take in and out. And I don't have Fison bodies in my collection, so no additional appendages on that side of the fence. So I don't know, this is kind of cool. I think this has the G word all over it. Grail, if you may. I definitely think this is going to be an excellent figure. I liked that they changed it to seamless arms. I'm a little bit worried about the articulation over time. I hate to see those arms break under pressure, or if you leave it in a pose for too long, there's definitely that chance you're going to rip the skin. So yeah, obviously be careful there, but I think it's still really, really cool. So this guy is coming to the collection 100%. You also get Eagly. I forgot to mention, Eagly is definitely a main character within the show, let's be honest, and it's an eagle. Really random, but I don't think Eagly looks as good as John Cena does, to be honest, or Peacemaker, but I can 100% let it pass. I still I'm cool with the fact that they included him as his selection. And I'm really hoping that the gun is removable, because that is his Peacemaker. So he needs to be able to hold his gun. I'm hoping that they make it detachable and give the man a gun, just like all the other gun figures that I have in the collection. Next up is Black Panther, the original suit. Now, this is actually essentially a reissue or a 2.0 version of the original suit that we got a few years ago. I missed that figure. Missed it entirely. I just wasn't collecting at the rate that I'm collecting now. And then, of course, Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace, passed away, really tragically. And his figures on the secondary market just exploded. They were more money than I could ever really justify. So I was really hoping with Black Panther Wakanda Forever that we'd at least maybe get a reissue. And even though this is not branded Wakanda Forever, it came out just before the film, which, again, by the way, if you haven't seen it, really enjoyed it. Gotta say, I'm actually pretty happy with this. The articulation looks pretty impressive, considering, and it has to be, he's Black Panther. I do like the head sculpt. I don't absolutely love the head sculpt. I am hoping that what we're seeing here for these prototype images is still kind of version 1. My friend Marco, again at 16fix, he's got the Max Nut head sculpt and loves it. It looks really, really good. I don't want to have to go to a secondary source for another head sculpt if I buy it from an official distributor like Hot Toys. This is their opportunity to pay true respect to Chadwick and give the man a banger of a head sculpt. And like, they're close here. This is, to me, still an 8.5. But even after seeing that John Cena picture a few pictures back or a few slides ago, and how like good that figure looks in the face, come on, we can tweak this one, I think, just a little bit more and make it just, again, call it a grail, call it whatever you want. But I think that there's some room for improvement. However, even if they don't improve it, I know I'm being one of those guys, but I would still get this in my collection either way, because I did just recently get Killmonger. I would love to display him with Chadwick, and even though I don't have it on pre-order quite yet, the Shuri Black Panther from Wakanda Forever is definitely a high consideration at this point. This just shows you some of the upgrades on the suit itself. It's got a bit bigger of a body, a little more muscular, and I think some of the material has changed. Overall, really, really cool. You do get that fighting mask as well, I want to call it, which is pretty unique. It's cool that they've given us really 3 different display options with this figure. Again, I think it has the makings of a grail, but it remains to be seen. Stay tuned for next year. It's on my top 10 most anticipated list. This guy, the Wolverine 1973 version, Deluxe. I could not help myself. He comes with a leather jacket. He comes with a crazy display. I don't have a Hugh Jackman in my collection, and to me, this is almost shrink ray Hugh Jackman. It looks beautiful and so badass. I love the tailoring on the outfit. I love the bone claws. I do wish that we got a set of adamantium claws as well, but that wouldn't necessarily be, it wouldn't be accurate to the show, right? It wouldn't be in the right timeline for him to have those adamantium claws yet. So that's a pass for me. Maybe down the line, somebody will make some hands with some adamantium claws that we can swap out. That'd be pretty cool. I'd be digging that. I also can totally see myself displaying this guy with my Deadpool 2 figure, my Ryan Reynolds, of course, Deadpool. Deadpool 3 is coming soon, and Hugh Jackman has been announced to be in that film. Deadpool and Wolverine comics, fantastic. However, the chemistry between Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman is better. And I can't wait to see those guys just act together, have fun. I don't know if they're going to fight. I don't know if they're going to just jeer each other on the whole time. I have no idea. But once again, excited to take another shot. Now, okay. RoboCop is such a nostalgic film for me. I rewatched it again recently because it had been a couple of years since I saw the first one. Now, this figure is obviously being advertised for RoboCop 3, even though the mouth plates to me look clearly like Peter Weller. They just do. He doesn't look like the actor, and I don't even remember his name, that played in RoboCop 3. So I think it's interesting that this looks to me, especially without the jetpack on, more like the RoboCop 1 version than the RoboCop 3 because of those mouth plates. And I'm totally cool with that. I don't have a RoboCop in my collection. I've been collecting since 2010, but I missed RoboCop when it was released. Again, I just wasn't collecting at the same rate that I am now. And when we got this announced this past year in 2022, I nearly fell out of my chair. I immediately pre-ordered it so I'd get this battle damaged special edition bonus. Have a couple looks in there. I think that's really, really cool. And ultimately, RoboCop, in my opinion, is one of those timeless classics. It's like Back to the Future. People are going to be watching that film forever. RoboCop 3, maybe not necessarily, but RoboCop 1 and 2, 100%. Now again, I said earlier, this may be a divisive stream. I get it, my top 10 list is going to be different than everybody else's. But most of you who follow me know that I'm a big Exo-6, at least big Star Trek fan. Maybe not Exo-6 specifically, because they've burned my ass a couple times on a few things. But what I will say about them is that they have given us a Locutus of Borg to look forward to in 2023. And for that, I say bravo. For that, I am very thankful. Locutus of Borg is one of my favorite characters of all time. He, of course, is played by the very iconic Patrick Stewart, and this character is coming from the last episode of Season 3 and the first episode of Season 4, The Best of Both Worlds from Star Trek The Next Generation. And I will say that of all the characters they could give us, if Exo-6 had said, we're stopping production tomorrow, what you've got is what you've got, my two favorite figures so far from them would be my First Contact Data, and I think this one. I cannot wait to get him in the collection. The question I have for myself is, am I going to invest in the regeneration chambers? Maybe. I haven't quite decided yet. Because if you get one, you almost need three. I know that sounds ridiculous potentially, but I'm envisioning a setup similar to like a Borg cube where, just like this picture, you see Locutus standing in a hallway of these alcoves. But they're expensive, or at least they're supposed to be. So I'm a little nervous about that. Again, if one alcove costs the same as a figure, that may change my mind. I haven't 100% guaranteed myself that that's what I'm going to do quite yet. We'll get there. We'll see. Very, very cool figure. Next on the top 10 list is Tobey Maguire, the deluxe version, the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Now, how much does that Tobey Maguire look like Tobey Maguire, right? Looks awesome. Looks exactly like how he looked in the film. I would give this sculpt at least a 9 out of 10. It's not quite perfect, but perfection is hard when you're sculpting a face. Let's be honest, they change all the time. This looks amazing, and I love the ribbed outfit. Ribbed for Spider-Man's pleasure, of course. Love that outfit. To me, Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire's 2000 film, I mean, that was my Spider-Man when I was a kid, right? I mean, even as a kid, that's now, 23 years ago. I'm 36, so I was in my teens, not even a kid anymore. But he was my Spider-Man for years, and I loved the portrayal of Spider-Man they gave us. Now, the downfall with this figure, and the only reason I'm still on the fence, I haven't actually pre-ordered this yet, is the price. He's really, really expensive. Like, ridiculously expensive. But I think it'll be worth it. If I could have one Spider-Man in my collection, it would actually be probably the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I'm not gonna lie. I've liked Andrew Garfield's versions, and the Amazing Spider-Man suit is actually my favorite suit. But the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, again, is my nostalgia kick in the pants, and he cannot be beaten. I think he's fantastic. The sand base I'm not as amped for. I did decide that if I get this, I'm going to go with the deluxe, because I think it would make for a really, really cool display. But that's mostly just for this figure. I don't typically go for the big diorama displays, because I like having my figures kind of like you see behind me, standing on their own terms, having a good time. Now, that's my top 10 list. I have to give at least some honorable mentions because, again, like I said at the beginning of the video, there are so many good figures this year that a 10 list is hard. But I'm going to keep this to one slide each and really quick. So, honorable mention, Dead Strange. This looks so good. So good. And it might be a figure I would display all the time. I probably would be, especially at Halloween. But I really enjoyed the Multiverse of Madness, which gives my next honorable mention the Doctor Strange from that film. I like that you get the second sculpt with the third eye. I think that's really nice. But I also think this is the best likeness of the actor that we have. Benedict Cumberbatch. It's a hard name to say on the fly. I like this sculpt a lot. I like this figure a lot. I think that the outfit is fantastic. It's very comic accurate. And yeah, very excited about this one. But it's not pre-ordered yet. I'm kicking this guy down the road a little bit. I'm really hoping those waitlists don't catch up with me. Scarlet Witch from the Multiverse of Madness. Again, had to put this in the honorable mention. I love the candle diorama. I loved Elizabeth Olsen in this film. She was so badass and really scary, but it was really cool. I'm a Sam Raimi fan, so I will say that I liked this feel of the film, but Wanda was a standout, and this figure is beautiful. It looks exactly like Elizabeth Olsen in my opinion. I love the blackened fingers. I don't love the plastic effects, probably wouldn't display those necessarily, but having her sit above the candle diorama, oh yeah, 100% I'm gonna get this. Moon Knight. I know this was a divisive show for a lot of people, but I gotta say, it was one show that I enjoyed way more than I expected. I didn't know anything about Moon Knight when the show started, and Oscar Isaac's performance absolutely sucked me in. And I thought Moon Knight was really cool. Now, we didn't even get to see him suited up all that much in the show. I think we'll probably get a chance to see it more in the second season. But this one was badass and will come to the collection at some point. Guaranteed. Green Goblin on Glider. Now, we have two options of Green Goblin out there. I don't know if you like Goblin. I certainly do, as my buddies at Collecting Weekly would make fun of me for. I definitely like this figure a lot. I never got the Toys Era version. I missed that one, The Fiend, I think it was called. And I know a lot of people said that that's honestly a great replacement for this figure. But this one, I've seen some preview images of it, and it looks really, really cool. And of course, we get the head sculpt to go along with him. So I'm going to keep that blurred so you can pull them up on Sideshow if you're interested. I think it has gone waitlist though, so note to self. Lastly, Cad Bane. He had to be in there as an honorable mention. This is one that I don't have pre-ordered yet, but I will say it's a very cool looking figure. Very, very cool. I am a little nervous about the height on him because he'll only fit in certain displays, but that's a different issue down the line. I feel like unless we see Cad Bane again, which we very well might in the Star Wars universe, this guy could absolutely end up being a Grail down the line because he's so unique looking. So unique looking. And I really liked this scene. If I were to get this guy, I would be tempted to get the Cobb Vanth to go with him just to recreate that standoff in the desert. I thought that was really, really cool. But that is the top 10 list and some of my honorable mentions for the year 2023 so far. Because let's be honest, guys, we know we're gonna get more releases and announcements this year than maybe ever before. There's a lot of content right now, a lot of streaming content, a lot of great films. And I gotta say, it's a great time to be a collector. But what do you think of my list? Let me know down in the comments below. What is your top 10 or at least maybe top 3 figures of 2023 that you're looking forward to most? I'd love to hear from you guys down in the comments below. But if you liked the video, hit the like button for me. Please subscribe if you're new to the channel. I'm getting close to 1,000 subscribers. It would be cool to hit that in 2023. But either way, I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you watching, of course. Enjoy the rest of your evening. This is the Ben Thomas Show. We'll catch you on the next one.